Hello, hello. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and this is where
WeCast
we cast.
your games.
Now, we're actually in the middle of a casting marathon here, or a
We
coaching
are
marathon.
coaching casting marathon.
Absolutely. I mean, we love casting so much that we're gonna do it back to back just for you guys.
To back to back to back.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and get our coachee on the line.
Okay.
Hello,
Oh,
hello.
nope.
Hey, is this ZebraCack? ZebraCack?
Oh, this is ZebraCakes. So
Oh, zebra cakes. I can't believe I pronounced that the worst possible way.
when you first said it, I thought I was like, oh, I'm not the right
Uh,
guy. And then I'm like, I read my name, like, well, you
I
can
guess it's
kind of say
possible.
it that way.
I don't know. I'm gonna call you ZebraCack so I feel smarter. Okay.
I
Well,
uh,
you put
I
a
can't tell if you were joking or you seriously thought it was ZebraCakes.
you put a 3 in there, and it was hard to read. And so, let's just get to the coach.
All right, well that should be pretty funny to our viewers. So yeah, we are live right now. So welcome to the coaching session.
Thanks, guys.
So
Awesome.
what race do you play and why?
I am random because I don't want to get burnt out in one race, and there's little bits of each race I like, and I don't think I can go without.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hmm.
So in the replays, did you send us one of each race, or
Well,
did you-
my worst race is Protoss, so I figured I'd
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
work on that.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So what is your best race then, as your random player?
Zerg is definitely my best race.
Oh, nice.
Let's see. So, what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna look over one of your replays, and then we're gonna do a live coaching session. Now, Chris Fix, what is a live coaching session?
So basically, after we look over your replay and just give you general tips on that one, we're gonna have you play Sharp Eyes, and then after the game is over, I'm gonna give you tips while you play, and then after the game is over, like Sharp Eyes, like it's a lot easier to more to coach more in depth when we have firsthand experience with your gameplay, and so that way we'll be able to like give you even like better advice on how to improve.
Okay,
Does that sound good?
sounds great.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and get you into the party. What is your in-game name?
Z-
Zabraka?
and the number you want is. How do I find it again? 665.
665. All right. I will be adding you right now. Okay. Let me know if you've gotten the request. If not, then you might need to send the email over.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, I will.
Go ahead and send it over Skype or just tell us.
It's How do I don't use Skype or Ariel.
Alright. I'm gonna add you right now. Okay. Sent request.
There, I got that one.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
Have you ever eaten a zebra cake, Sharp Eyes?
I have not.
It's pretty good. They're really delicious.
Are you Canadian?
Quite good. No, I actually do like zebra cakes.
Oh. I was talking about the guy who hadn't eaten one.
Oh, I see.
Alright, so let's go ahead and look over this replay. It'll be ZebraCakes as Protoss versus Noctis as the Terran.
Awesome. What do you think of this new map, Zebra Cakes? Do you like it?
No.
Yeah,
hate
me
it.
neither. I don't like it either. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like. I feel like everything's too like open. Like it's too vulnerable.
Against Terran, it's okay, but when you play Zerg, it's just like, where do I wall? Like, I don't
Oh,
know.
I see. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Probably go a little faster to get to the good parts.
So do you
Game
use different builds versus different races?
Yes.
Okay.
I just froze.
Game
Oh, there you go.
resumed.
Oh, we
Um,
paused it.
okay. I use Parting's one gate against Terran and Toss, and then I do some weird wall expand I got from Desro against Zerg.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, cancel. I like Desro. I watch his stream sometimes. He's fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, he's one of the best casters. He's just
Yeah.
I don't know. Most people are kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly. I think your chrono boost energy is very high. I think that's one of the like already. I think that's one of the things you can work on the most.
Oh, this is the one good one or semi good one I say anyway. The other two I just would stomp.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. So this one I sent because I don't. Like I told you this build Partington is for PvP, and I don't really have a PvT. So I was wondering, is this an okay opener PvT, or should I switch to something else?
Yeah, so usually in PvP in PvT you want to open with a 1-gate fast expand, or a 2-gate fast expand.
I think it was okay. What did you end up doing a 1-gate fast expand?
I did a 1-gate into Blink, and I
Mm,
was going to explain.
I see. It was early blink. It's an okay build. This happened to me before. Like this same thing has happened to me before. But when I play Protoss, I always get early. I always get early Marines and Marauders out because I feel like Protoss likes to pressure early. And the only problem with a build like this is if, say, the Terran player like goes early Marine Marauder, he can have a lot more out by 822 than like you came to his front door with. And so if that's the case, and then if that's the case and he pushes and like you push his front gate with this amount of stalkers, if you push the front gate with this amount of stalkers and he has like as many Marines and Marauders as he can get out at that point on one base, like he will be able to run over you, and then he'll just go back to your base, and like the game will basically be over from there. And so like what I would recommend is to do a 1-gate expand, because like the Terran player really can't punish the 1-gate expand too hard, and as long as you get out a stalker with your 1-gate, you can fend off any Reaper play. And at that point, once you get that stalker out and you have your expansion going up, you can get a lot more. You can get a lot more out with that many minerals than you can if you try to do the 1-base blink stalker push against Terran. Only because of how much bio a Terran player can get out in 1 base. But if you scout well enough and you see that he's doing something greedy like he is now, then this build is just fine.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Let's go ahead and go on to the 1v1 session.
Sweet. I will be right back. You guys get that all set up. I'll go ahead and accept the download.
One second, it's loading the maps.
Sounds good. But yeah, just like that match, you obviously did really well because you won like immediately. But I would say the only thing is like use your chrono boost more, because you could have had blink out a lot faster. You could have had more probes. Warp gate would have finished earlier. Just everything would have happened faster, which is always good. So like that's what that and like maybe even better scouting would have been my two big things for that game.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be right back.
Now, I have a question. What makes Zerg better for you than Protoss?
Well, I'm really into the pro StarCraft scene,
Right.
and I watched live 10 pool and just destroy people, so I started trying doing it, and it works really well.
Oh, I see. So basically a fast aggro strat that can end the game, but then you can also macro behind that.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, back.
Welcome back, Crucifix.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So, how many giant battles have gone on so far?
2.
Let's see. Is this in slow motion?
What?
I can't, for some reason on my screen, I can't see the timer. But I wasn't sure if we were going normal speed, faster on purpose, like normal speed.
Oh, this is on normal or?
I don't know. I can't see it. I was just saying maybe we should go to where the action starts going a little faster.
Yeah, I don't think that we're on normal.
No. Oh yeah. No. Oh my gosh. I forgot you two were playing. I thought this was a replay. Okay.
I was kind of confused. I'm like, you just want us to send our pros at each other? Or?
Oh my gosh. I was like, why are we doing this replay like so slowly? Okay, so obviously, I mean, by now I'm sure you think that I'm just like the best coach, just like you've ever experienced. But let's just move on. So yeah, so basically, like since I wasn't here to explain everything, like I'm gonna give you general tips, like when I see them, and you can choose to follow them or choose not to. It's up to you. You like don't feel pressured to take any advice I give you. Like I won't be offended if you don't. It's just like general tips, and then if you want to use them, you can. Make sure that your probe production is steady. You don't want it to. You always want to be making a probe. Sometimes I like to queue one just to make sure I'm always making one. Also that, as we were already talking about, your chrono boost, you want to be using that on your warp gate research, to make probes and to get upgrades, just depending on what your priorities are. Yeah, you probably just want to.
We require more minerals.
Yeah, it's good.
We require more minerals.
Use that Chrono Boost if you can. Let's see. I would recommend getting at least one or both of the gases on your natural. Looks like you already did. Good job. Your gateways are off cooldown, so you should be producing units. Make sure you turn the gateway in your main to a warp gate.
Forces are under attack.
Probably Chrono Boost your upgrade. Wouldn't be a bad place to use it. Probably want to scout at some point again. Sure, continue to upgrade. So you did see that he has.
Roche Hydra.
You did see that he has Roach Hydra. You saw his Hydrostin. So just react accordingly. Like that, you're increasing production. Your mineral count's a little high though. I would recommend making sure you are producing off your gates as often as you can, and using your Chrono Boost. sure you're not playing too passively. You know, push out when you feel comfortable.
Alright.
We require forces are under attack.
Oh, what my pros are doing.
Mutation complete.
Sure you have pro production going on. You have a lot of minerals, but still pro production is important. Make sure you're warping in from your gateways as often as you can. Try
I
to
think
spend
that's
your
my biggest problem. I always fall behind is I forget to do that.
use your warp gates. I do like how you have them all hotkeyed. So yeah, just kind of put it like make it muscle memory to every once in a while just be hitting 4 and then warping in. Like every time you're not, every time you feel like you're not doing something, just warp, 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 warp.
Mineral field depleted.
Go ahead and keep making probes. Very important. Go ahead and respond to the spore crawlers right now. If you have vision.
I don't, but
I see. Well then, you can't really respond to them. One thing you can do is if you know where they're coming from, the splash damage on your colossi will kill the spore crawler. Or what? Swarm host, sorry.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
So yeah, you killed 1, killed 2, killed 3, killed 4. Yeah, you killed 5, killed 6, killed all of them. Oh, mostly because you had the observer out. But the splash damage it is a good trick that you can use. I would say use one of your observers in his base, one of them with your army.
C4.
Make sure you expand at some point. Make sure you're warping. Make sure you're taking all your gases. Also, make sure you scout. Kind of know where he is on the map. I would say increase production at this point because you're about to take an expansion. Maybe build more gateways, more robotic space, whatever you want. Quasi! Making as many immortals as you can at this point, while warping in units.
Yoink.
Oh, it's the sound. Thanks. Okay, there you go. I'll keep the Flossi right behind that wall there. Fortunately, Flossi aren't as good versus Ultralisks as we would like.
That's pretty much GG.
Yep, just about.
So when you say scout, what should I just make an illusion and look, or I mean,
Well,
I guess I don't
basically,
know.
well, I mean, the reason I said that was because, I mean, he had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases, so like he should never be able to have 7 bases, you know, like you need to have map, you need to like be trying to get map control at all times, so you can either do it with hallucinated phoenixes, you can do it with observers that are set on patrol command along the sides of the map, so you know if he's ever trying to take anything other than his three main bases. Via a death squad, which is what I like to call it. So say 3 stalkers and a mothership core, and 2 stalkers, 3 zealots, and a mothership core would be a pretty good death squad. You know, because it has recall and it can kill stuff. And so basically, what you want to be doing is you always want to be applying a little bit of pressure with these death squads, and you can use them as both damage dealers and as scouts. And so that way, you know, you can send these squads up the side of the map so you can check all the expansions, make sure he's not taking one without you knowing about it. And then at the same time, if he, you know, as long as you make sure he's not taking any expansions you don't know about, you can use that squad to poke at him at his third or whatnot. You know, make him respond. You know, hurt his macro a little bit, and then recall if you need to. So that's one really good way to do it. So Sharp Eyes, what was your general like the pros and like what he did well, what he could improve on, stuff like that?
I thought that his macro play was really well. I mean, he took his third base, you know, at a really good time, and I was not able to shut it down, so I just expanded, you know, once more.
Right.
But what I would like to see more is more aggressive play. So you pretty much just let me do whatever I wanted pretty much for the first 10 minutes, and I think a little bit more harassment would have tossed me more of a curveball.
Right.
Okay.
Sharp Eyes likes to play real greedy. He usually doesn't have too many units out very early in the game, and if you had scouted a little harder, I saw that you did send your mothership core over there. You know, but by the time you did that, I feel like he already had all 3 of his bases fully saturated and was ready to reply to anything you would have sent over there to punish him at that point. But I think a probe scout at maybe I think a probe scout at about the same time you're expanding. So like right after you expand, maybe send that probe to go scout your opponent. And if you see that the Zerg already has a third base, if he doesn't really have anything in, if you see that the Zerg player is playing real greedy like that, you know, go ahead. That's a really good time to send some of the units that you have over, or at least taking another expansion of your own, or you know, just respond to that greediness in a way that will make it so you don't have to get so far behind, because you know, once Sharp Eyes had 3 bases and you only had 2 not quite saturated bases, then you know, that's when the Zerg player starts to get really far ahead. So you really want to punish greedy play from any opponent, and Zerg, because they can do a lot with it.
Yeah, it's a bad habit I developed because, especially in gold, all it is 8 or 10 minute timing attacks. So I just got into the habit of, all right, this is bunker down, and after that attack comes. I
know what you mean, and I used to do that all the time. I basically max my army and then go attack with a maxed army, and it's really what separates the lower leagues from the higher leagues, is because early game aggression is so important, and it's so vital to scouting. It's so vital to keeping your opponent feeling like they need to stay back in their base. early game aggression is very important, and I think if you added that to your gameplay, you'd find yourself just feeling more in control of the game. You don't really want to be like, I feel like when you don't scout, you always feel like, you know, anything can happen at any time. You never know what's about to happen. But if you have some units over on his side of the base, always checking and poking and prodding, you'll always know what's happening. You'll always know when he's moving out. You'll always know when he takes another expansion. You can see his army composition because he has to respond to your pokes. Having a squad over at his side of the map is really vital to knowing what's going on in the game. See, like with those not spore crawlers. With the I don't know why I keep calling him that. That's like a static defense against air. But for those sharp eyes, what am I talking about?
I think they're called swarm hosts.
Okay, it starts with an S. Like for those swarm hosts, even though you responded to them really well, they still did end up doing some damage, and you would have known about those much earlier, and would have been able to have an observer out, like ready to respond, like immediately if you had seen them. And you know, they're very slow as well. So if you had a squad of a few units over on his side of the base, not only are you not risking that much because it's only three zealots and 2 stalkers and a mothership core. You know, even if the recall doesn't go off in time, you didn't lose that much. The mothership core is kind of a big deal, but you really didn't lose that much, and you got so much information. And you know, if it doesn't die, then you're in a really good spot. So that's what I would recommend for the scouting, at least.
Yeah,
Right.
and also I noticed that that your pro production here was kind of lacking. I mean, sometimes you'd produce 2 at a time, sometimes 1, and then at this point 0, for maybe 5 seconds, and so not making a probe for 1 second or 2 seconds over and over again, that'll add up.
Yep.
And so one of the most vital things is to always have 2 probes producing at all times.
Right. And a lot of players feel, and like I can tell just by your gameplay that you know that 16 is the optimum number just by watching pros play and stuff. And the thing, a lot of players, they'll think, okay, I have 16 probes on each of my bases, but I don't have an expansion, and so I'm just going to stop making probes until I have an expansion, and then I'll start again. But what you actually want is you want to be making probes constantly. And then once you get an expansion, you'll immediately have full saturation, which is way better than having to wait until you make 16 more. And so yeah, you want to be constantly making probes, and then once you have that expansion, get full saturation immediately. And that way it opens you up to, hey, maybe I can get another expansion right now, or okay, I don't need another expansion. I have all these minerals. I can really get my army in full force here. And so constantly making probes is just very important. As we were discussing during the game, producing off of your warp gates as often as you can is something I see a lot in Protoss. Like, it is a mistake I see a lot in Protoss, like not producing off the gateways as soon as the cooldown finishes. And that's actually one thing it's kind of unique to Protoss, actually, that issue, because with Terran, you can queue. Say you can kind of queue like an extra Marine if you're having trouble remembering, but you can't queue an extra Zealot or an extra Sentry. You have to just be good about remembering to produce again right after that cooldown's done. And so it's one of the things that's unique to Protoss, that you just have to rely on yourself remembering, kind of getting used to the cooldown time, and just like eventually, if you really work on it hard, you'll just innately be able to know when the cooldown is over. Like, it'll just, because that kind of thing happens to me with my Widow Mines. I kind of just know when a Widow Mine is kind of ready to go again, just because of like how often I've paid attention to it. And so I think once you kind of put that into your once you make that mental note again and again to check to see if your warp gates are ready to go, eventually you'll just kind of start to know like when it's close. Because and the same thing will happen with your chrono boost.
Hmm.
So, one thing to note here, you kind of stopped making probes after you were saturated on 2 base, and I think that that's a great strategy if you were doing a 2 base all in. Now, you decided to macro behind that and expand and get a 3rd base. So right here, therein lies the problem. So you pretty much cut probes for a long time,
Right.
and then decided to expand. So your expansion doesn't really have many probes on it, and so I think that that's setting you far back. So either cut probes at 2 base saturation and then push out and then commit to it, or keep on making probes, while making army, after full saturation on 2 bases, and then take a third, cannon it up, and then transfer the excess probes to your expansion once
Oh,
the
hello?
nexus hits.
Hello?
Oh, hey, can you hear us?
Yes, you guys cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, he was just saying, either do a 2 base all in, which is very good with Protoss, or keep making probes and then saturate your third when it gets up, basically.
Yeah, and the most vital part is to not cut probes if you're expanding to your third. So I think that if you would have kept on producing probes even after 16 on 2 bases, I think that your economy would have been much better.
Hmm. And even though your minerals get high sometimes, you do a good job of spending your excess mineral, which is something that a lot of beginners can't do. Like once they get too many minerals, they can never spend it, and you don't have that issue. Even if you get too many, you eventually do a good job of spending those minerals. And so that being said, having that extra income, you would be able to utilize it just because you're a good enough player. And so and then once you have those extra minerals, that's when you can start taking a 4th base.
But I also noticed that you never once took the fight to my base. You're pretty much just playing tower defense, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like right here, like look at how many expansions he has, and that's mostly due to just like the passiveness in general of the gameplay. And then after like it's just the passiveness in general, and then the not scouting. But you weren't necessarily behind an army count the whole game. I bet like I would even reckon that at some points you were ahead, especially during the very initial Roach attack. I think you had a bigger army than Sharp Eyes did. But the fact that you stayed in your base so long, eventually, no matter what skill level a player is, if you give him enough time, he's gonna do well because he just gets to do whatever he wants. He gets to expand as much as he wants. So you really have to put your opponent into you have to make your opponent feel like he's always in trouble. Because if an opponent always feels like that, then that means you're in control of the game.
So right here, I've been at 200 for quite a while now, and I've been maxing and remaxing, and you're over here stuck on 140-ish, and so I think that if you would have built one more robo facility, and continually pumped out Colossi, I think that you that it would be a lot easier for you to empty out your minerals and gas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing that's really hard is increasing production enough to spend your minerals once you get 3 bases, because 3 bases is a lot of minerals at once. And so, yeah, I would just recommend when you take your 3rd base, don't only build like 2 additional gateways. Build like 3 additional gateways and like another robo facility. And I feel like that'll be like, and even if you can't produce off all of them, it's a lot better to be out of minerals than it is to have too many. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. So off of 2 bases, you want 6 gateways and 2 robos, and off of triple base you want 9 gateways and 3 robos.
If you're only making units out of those buildings, but yeah, that's a good it's a good indicator. Also, you never want Colossi like alone like by itself like that, because a Colossi by itself is almost useless. Like it can get killed by anything almost. So you always want your Colossi to be protected by a good ball of units. Also, I feel like you move commanded way too much here. Like that army just now went, like, it was trying to get over here to join your Colossi, and you right-clicked instead of A-clicking, and that made it so that they moved all the way, like, while they were getting chomped, they moved all the way over and then just died. And so you need to make sure to be A-clicking your units, especially during combat, unless you specifically want them to move back. But you never want to be moving through the army to try to join your other forces, because they'll just die. So yeah, you need to make sure to A-click whenever you're in combat.
Also, on triple base, I think that you should try to tech switch to High Templar as well, because feedback counters Vipers, and Sonic Storm counters Hydras and Lings. So
yeah,
it's pretty powerful.
And High Templar are not hard to use. It's just as easy. It's exactly as easy to use High Templar as it is to use shields on sentries. And since you're already using sentries, like, I feel like you have the ability to use High Templar. And so, like, I would really recommend it, because with like 5 High Templar, your damage output from your army can, like, almost double. So I would really recommend using High Templar, like, once you get to 3 bases.
Okay.
Yeah, because pretty much most Zerg v Protosses, the Protoss is gonna go Colossi, and then the Zerg's like, all right, well, I'm gonna counter that with Vipers or Corruptors or both, and so the Protoss player's like, all right, well, to counter that, I'm gonna go High Templar.
Right. And so, it's just always kind of, and that's another thing that that scouting will help you with, is you'll be able to counter before he's at your base instead of having to counter once he's already there.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that was about the extent of the game. Could probably exit at this point. But Sharp Eyes, did you want to move into the 6 tips?
Yep, absolutely. 6 tips. Starting with number 1, Crucifix.
Okay.
Take it away.
I think the first tip you could work on is Chrono Boost. I think that it is hard to remember to use it, because you're already trying to deal with all the other macro stuff, and you're already trying to remember to warp in units and everything. But it's just so important, and it helps so much with just everything, that Chrono Boost can definitely be a good thing to prioritize while you play.
Yeah, and to add on to that, people always say use Chrono Boost, but it is so freaking hard to like remember how to use it at lower leagues. And so, as Crucifix was saying in a few past casts, Crucifix tries to employ this kind of pattern.
Right.
Can you try to elaborate on that?
Oh, I was actually gonna do that as one of the points, but I'll just take the first 2 points, and you can take the third and fourth. Basically, what I like to point out is, like, I feel like with you specifically, like, this can help more than, like, anything, is, like, just get yourself into a macro pattern where you're already using hotkeys, which is good. And so I like to use my hotkeys to get myself into a macro pattern. So, like, so I like to so basically you have your warp gates on one, you have your production on one hotkey, and you have your army on one hotkey, and you have your Nexi on one hotkey, and basically you're doing a circle where you go between each of those and do tasks, and eventually you'll get into a circle pattern where you're just always checking those hotkeys, because those are basically the only 3 things that you ever have to do besides building buildings with your probes. And so if you go from your Nexus and you build probes, you go to your army and fight with it, and you go to your production and make units, then you're always going to be doing everything you need to. So you go to your next eye, you use your chrono boost, and you make probes. You go to your production and you warp in units, and you go to your army and you scout and poke and prod, and then you go back into your production and then to your nexus. And if you do it in a circle like that, it's going to be a lot easier than just kind of, because it's a lot easier than just feeling like you're randomly doing stuff throughout the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that would help you a lot.
All right.
Okay. Next point. So pretty much, I think that your production was lacking. It was good that you expanded twice, but you had the same amount of production as 2 base. So as soon as you expand, or even before you expand, if your minerals will allow it, build more production, and then utilize that production. Because late game, I kind of noticed that sometimes your macro would kind of slip up, and then you'd have 2,000 or so minerals and gas. And so I think that building more production units or production structures mid game will really help you out with that.
And fourth point, Sharp Eyes.
Fourth point. Let's see, fourth point.
Maybe aggressive play.
Yeah. So fourth point. You pretty much let me, have rain all over the whole map, and while that is okay, if you can max quick enough, being that you're around 100 to 140 for almost the entire game, was kind of a big deal, because you never want to fight a 200 army with a 140 army. So I think that either play more aggressively to deny my third base, or 2, max to 200 very quickly with a powerful Protoss Death Ball, and then take me out with 200.
I think point number 5. I think one thing that could help you a lot, like it's easy for us to say, gain map control or punish your opponent's greedy play, but that's kind of also very general, and it's hard, and sometimes it's hard to just do in game, because games are so different. So one thing you could try is keep a scout, maybe an observer, or a hallucinated phoenix every once in a while, whatever. Scout when he takes his third, and then whatever opponent you're playing, scout when he takes his third, and then try to deny that third with some units. And I think that'll be a really good way for you to figure out how greedy your opponent's being, to apply pressure to your opponent early game, and it's very easy to remember. I mean, all you really have to concentrate on is finding out when your player takes his third base, and then try to deny his third base, because everyone's going to take a natural, and you're almost never going to be able to deny it because of how early game it is. But the third base, sometimes players take thirds. A lot of times players take third bases before they really have enough units to defend it with. And so if you scout that third base, and then you go and try and apply pressure to it, I think a lot of times you'll find that you'll either be able to get a cancellation, you'll get a really good battle, or worst case scenario, you'll get to see his army composition. So I think that's a simple way for you to do early game pressure while also scouting and not being passive. So.
Yep. Point number 6. This kind of coincides with the previous point. So pretty much, I noticed that you don't really build proxy pylons, and at higher levels of play, proxy pylons are actually very vital, because Protoss's army is not really that mobile.
Right.
And so what proxy pylons do is, let's say you're feeling kind of pressured, Zerg players moving into your third or trying to harass you a little bit. If you had placed a proxy pylon at places in the map, such as his 4th or 5th, just warp a bunch of zealots and then run it into one of his bases, and force him to pull back or lose his base.
Right, and that's a really good way. Like I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a really good way for you to keep tabs on making sure he doesn't take a 4th and 5th base without you knowing about it, like Sharp Eyes did. If you just have a proxy pylon and where he might take his 4th or 5th base, not only will you be able to warp in units there and apply pressure, but you'll also be able to scout with those pylons. So that's a really good idea for sure.
All right, I will try and do that.
Awesome. And also, just as kind of a seventh point or whatever, I always like to say if you enjoyed today's cast or you have any suggestions or anything, a review on nerdupgrades.com really helps us out because it helps us get more coaches because we really like to coach, and so it helps us do it every night. So if you don't mind and you have some extra time, a review on nerdupgrades.com would be great.
I will.
Awesome, perfect.
Thank you very much.
In any case, I think that wraps up the cast. And you want to do the sign out, Sharp Eyes?
Yep. Once again, my name is Sharp Eyes.
And I am Crucifix.
And that is
ZebraCakes.
ZebraCakes with the number 3.
Perfect.
And until next time, guys.
Keep on playing.
Keep on playing.